Hello, all. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, based on wherever you are. And this is the last, yes, finally, the last video in the series where we are talking about how you upgrade a customized CL application from Business Central 14 to Business Central 23. Let's do a quick recap. In the first video of this series, we upgraded from NAV 2016 to Business Central 14. In the second video of the series, we understood how you use text to AL tool to convert your customization into an extension for Business Central 23. In the part 3 of this video, we started preparing for the upgrade where we did what? Let's quickly have a look. We actually created some different extensions which were empty extensions for the base system and for the customization, and we also created two table only extensions, one with all the tables and one with the migration.json. In this particular video, we are going to do the upgrade process from Business Central 14 with the customized CL extension to Business Central 23. So before we move ahead, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to this channel, and if you have any questions, add them into the comments. I religiously read all your comments and would love to hear your feedbacks on all these videos. So let's get ahead. Okay, so here we are. As we said, you can surely read about it. We talked about destination app for migration. We talked about migration.json. We are assuming that you're using a single tenant database. There's no multi-tenancy into it. We have a version 14 CU 11, and if you have any other version, do refer to the compatibility matrix, which tells you from which version of Business Central 14. You'll have to come down a little bit. You can go to which version of version 23. So if you are like we are on version 11 or 12, I guess, I can go to 23.0 or higher. If you need a detailed explanation of this chart, let me know into the comment section and we'll talk about it. Coming back to the video. We have a text to AL tool. We have installed version 23. I have done it. If you haven't, do that. I've used 23.4 for this. I don't have any custom permission set. I'm skipping that. We have done the application upgrade. So task 3 is done. In the last video, we have also completed task 4 by creating empty system app, base app, and the customization extension. This was covered in the previous video. Okay, so I'll move past this. And then we also created the table migration extension, the two versions of it. The first version have all the tables, and the second version was kind of empty. Okay, so this is done. Now where we are here for the data upgrade. So let's prepare the database. Make sure that you have the backup of your database, which you should have. If you have data encryption, disable that. Then uninstall all the extension. What I've done is I've pre-prepared the command, and we have talked about this command in the past, but what I've done is I have already written those. So let's quickly see that. It says uninstall all extension. You can do it with this command, which is already here. Then it says unpublish all extensions, which I've already added here. And then it says unpublish all the system test and application symbol, which I've already done here. I'm not multi-tenant, so I'll skip this. And then it says stop the service. Now, what I have noticed that there are some extensions which don't get clear at the first time. So I'll just select all this first, not the stop one. Run this, and I might see a error, and I don't. Let me see what database is mapped. Okay. Map 2016 NA. Okay, which is right. If you see an error message, that's because there is a cross dependency. If you're coming from Business Central 14, you'll see it because there are some default standard extension which have a cross dependency with other extensions, so they don't get clear at the first time. So make sure to run this twice. Once it is done, then select everything and run this, which will also stop the service. At this point, we are past BC40. So everything looks good. I'll close the PowerShell. Now it says in the new version of Business Central, there's a new license that has been introduced. So to set that up, you have to run this command on your SQL Server. What this is, it deletes all the references of the license on your environment, on your database. So I'll just copy this and I'll replace it, and let me zoom this in. I'll replace it into the app database name and the database name. So in the previous versions of NAV, when you did an upload of the license, which some people do, that gets stored into this table. If you do a save license in database, that gets installed in these two tables. So what Microsoft is saying, remove all the license references because that license will no longer be used going forward. That's done. Okay. Then it says convert your database from to Business Central 14. Okay. Let me open PowerShell and let me import the module of Business Central 23. That's needed. It'll load all the command for Business Central 23, and then we will follow whatever Microsoft is saying. Let's do that. The first one is invoke the database conversion. So let me write it here so that if you need it, I can add it, place it somewhere. Convert the database. Okay. Here what it's saying, what is the database server name? The database server name, and I don't have an instance. If you have, place it here. If you have instance, just put slash and the instance name. And then the database name. So my database name is this. Okay. And I'll just place it here. Okay. What is the next thing it says? Let's see. Then it says configure version 23 for destination app for migration. Now remember the destination app for migration from our previous conversation? That's what we are going to do here. So I'll just copy this here. And here you need to give the service name, which in my case is BC230. And then it says, okay, first set the database name, it says. So let's set the database name, which is this. And then it says configure the destination app for migration. Okay. And I'll come to this. Let me see. Server for database name and destination app for migration. Now here you need to specify the service name. The property remains same. Then here you need the table migration extension ID, the ID of the extension which have all the tables. So let's go into this folder, open this, and view. The ID will be same in both. So I'll use the V2 because that's a smaller one. And I'll just copy the ID of this extension from app.json. So this becomes my ID. Okay, and let me paste it here. It says name of the extension, which is this. Okay. The publisher of the extension, which is this. And remember, for the version, you need to specify the first version of it, not the one where you have deleted the table. That version in my case is called 1.0.0. So what I've done here, I've set the table app ID of the table only extension, the name of it, the publisher of it, and the version of it, the first version of it. If you have multiple of these, you can surely add more into it if needed. Okay, let's come here. As I said, you can add multiple extension to the setting. Now it says disable the task scheduler because we don't want to run this on during our upgrade process. Okay, let's do that. This is done. Anything else? And then it says restart the nav server instance. So let's do that. Okay, let me see this. BC14 to BC23. Upgrade step. And if needed, let me know into the comments. I'll add this into somewhere in my source control if needed. I'll run all this together, which will convert the database and set these settings. Here it asks you for the conversion of the database, and are you sure about it? Let's do that. This will do the conversion. Start setting up the parameters that needed to be set on the service, and then we'll restart the service. I'm pretty sure it's gonna ask for license change now, which I should have done already. Okay, but here it is. Import the license. I knew this is coming. I should have handled it in the same go, but that's okay. Okay, let's do this. The server instance name is again BC2030, and the license, it can be customer or partner. I'm not sure about the customer one on this case because this needed some other permissions. I'm using the partner license in this case, but if you have the customer license and you want to test it out, go ahead and let me know into the comments. Once you change the license, you also have to restart the service to have this impact. Okay, so the license change is done and it has been restarted as needed. Now it says publish the destination app for migration extension, which is your version 1 of the table only app. So the idea here is that all the data from your CAL will move into this particular extension. Okay, so let's copy this and let's pick the version 1 path. This is my version 1 of the table only extension. I'll just copy the path and place it here. Anything else on this? Once you publish this, then it says publish the empty version of system, base, and custom. So I have to do pre-mode. So let me copy this as it is and have my three empty paths here. For my empty apps, for my system first, and remember the sequence, it's important. You can't do it into the other sequence or incorrect sequence for that matter. And the custom app, that custom empty app that we have. So what we are doing here is we are publishing one extension which have all the tables without any code, and we have already set that into the destination app for migration, and then we are publishing the empty version of all the apps that we created in the previous video, because all these apps are part of the custom PTE. So you should be using the skip verification parameter on all these apps. Okay, and then you have to restart the service. Hopefully this is clear. So what we are going to do is we are going to run this set right now, and this will publish all 3 apps or 4 apps and will restart the service. Let's go ahead. Then it says synchronize the tenant. Now when the sync runs, it just validates that nothing is being dropped. We are not using multi-tenant, so I'll drop this. We'll come here and we'll sync the nav tenant, which is BC230, and my tenant as default. Okay, and then it wants you to synchronize the table migration extension. This extension is the table only extension that you created, which we created, right? So let's do that. This becomes my BC230 and this becomes my app name to sync. Okay. And this is my version 1 because that's what I have published. And my tenant is default. Okay. Once the sync happens, it says this will create some empty tables in the database for the table objects defined in the table, and when completed table migration extension ownership of the table. So we'll notice what happens after this. And then it says synchronize the empty version of system, base, and customization that you have published. So we also have to do it for all these 3 extensions. So let's me just do that here. Paste them here. Change first part of publish to be sync. Okay. The server instance remains same. The tenant was missing here and name is not here. So let me just copy paste these settings as it is. And then my name of this extension is system app. Okay. With the version property of 14.0. Okay. In this case, okay, this becomes my base app and version I'll just copy from the top to keep it easy. Okay. Nice. And then this becomes my demo. Does it needed? Is it needed? We'll just check that. So it says synchronize the empty version of system base and custom extension that you published. Now, before we do that, let's understand how this change that we made of destination app of migration impacts your SQL Server. So when I refresh this and I look it into this database, if you notice, right now, the table names are exactly as they were in BC14. So nothing has been changed. Now, when you go to BC23 for any of these apps or on any of these database tables, what you'll notice that each table gets a GUID. These GUIDs are 437 or 637, which are typically the Microsoft system and base application. Let's see, because we changed the destination app for migration and we did not use the Microsoft one, what happens once we do this. So first, let me run this. It is synchronizing. It should quickly synchronize. I don't think it should take a lot of time into it. But this then synchronizes this. And then going forward, we will sync the apps that are published here. While this is happening, let's see what happens. What is the next step of it? And I'll just keep adding it while the sync is running. Here it is trying to run the start nav data upgrade. So let's do that. This becomes BC230. Tenants becomes default. And the parameter rest remains same. Then it says, just to check how things are, you can just run this. So we'll use this together and we'll plug the tenant. So our first command of sync is done. Now what you're going to do is synchronize all these apps which we published in the previous step. Let's do that. While this is happening, which should not take much time, but I'll keep working on it here. Now it says install the empty versions of system-based customization as you publish. So now you're going to install these. Okay. While this is happening, let's quickly do that. Okay. Now it did said that to only install the empty version of system, base, and custom. So this is my system. Okay. And this is my base. And this is my custom extension. Here, install empty apps. Now we notice the sync is taking a lot of time, and we'll understand why while we are building this. And there was an error. What it is? Oh, maybe it says I did not. Okay, so the first three are done. It was just trying to synchronize this, but I had a mistake. So let me do this. Okay, that's done. Now let's go to the SQL Server and see what happens with the sync. Did anything change on the sync? And I go into tables and expand it. I see that there is some GUID attached to it. But notice the GUID is a little bit different, which is 204B359. Now 204B395 is the extension GUID for the table only one, which is different from actual Microsoft GUID, which is 437 or 63CA. Now that varies based on the property that I've set, because there were all the tables and there was this property set for destination app for migration. All the tables got this as their extension GUID on all the tables. So every table at this point is part of our empty extension, where there is only tables and fields which are needed. So hopefully the impact of destination app for migration is understood, that during the upgrade process, while we are installing this particular extension, the ownership of each and every table in this particular app is kind of attached to this app ID even on the SQL Server. So it is treating all of them as new tables at this moment, which are part of this app. Okay, so we did run the sync. Now let's install, which typically means upgrade this environment. So once you do that, that kind of completes the upgrade to that particular app, the BC14 app. And now if you notice, and let's quickly check, that you actually have, and let me see it in detail, tenant and tenant specific properties. You will notice that this extension, the empty extension, is not installed. The BC14 one is actually installed. So when you run the data upgrade, it automatically installs your BC14 table only one, because that's a part of it. Every other app is not yet installed, and that's the reason the next set of step is to only install 3 apps, 3 empty apps. So once I do that, all these 3 apps will also be installed, which is already done. Let's go back here. So this is done. So at this moment, all our data from our CL table is into this temporary extension which have the data. And let me find my slide deck. If I find my older one, that'll be useful at this moment. So if I can show you this somehow, let me try. Okay. So at this point, what is happening is we have moved all our data from the BC14 CL extension to all the tables without code extension, which we used to set into the destination app for migration. So all the data right now lies into it. Now what we'll do going forward is we will publish the second version of it, which you have already created, that where there are no tables, but then there is a migration.json, which based on migration.json will automatically move the data into the right set of extension from Microsoft and from you at that point. So that's where we are in, if that helps, hopefully. So, okay, coming back here, let's see. Now it says publish the final extension. Now, when it says final, that means it's talking about the Microsoft extension at this moment. What says? It says second phase of your upgrade. In this, the production extension with the new version of Microsoft system, base, and custom extension. And then you need to kind of install these. So publish extension with publish command, which is great. How you need to do this? There is an order or a sequence of it. The first extension that you need to publish is the second version of the table only extension that we created. Remember with the migration.json, that is something that we are going to install the first, and then we need to install the system application and the base application. This is how the sequence is. And then at the end, there's an application installation and the custom extension. Okay, so let's copy this and let's start assigning this. Okay, we have to do multiple. I'll just copy paste here and I'll just start replacing this. Just to keep it simple, let's do this way. Okay, done. So the first one is our v2 of where our migration.json does exist. So what I'll do is I'll go in here and pick my v2, copy this and copy this. When you're publishing, you need to make sure that you use a skip verification, because at least this one is created by us. Then the second one is the system application, which you should find in the product DVD. As I said in the previous video, I've already copied all the apps from product DVD into this folder, and the app that we are looking for is the system application. So that is here. So let's see, copy this and place that path here. The next one is most probably base app. Yes. So you can just go here, base app. Okay. And I'll place it here. The next one it says is to application extension. So we did not have the application one, and that is here. Now this is the first time that this is getting installed or published, so remember this. And the last one it says is custom extension. Now my custom extension is here, which is an actual extension which have table extensions and everything that I need. I'll just copy this. Okay, now this one is also built by me and it does not have the verification set. What else? If you're working for India, or if you have other ISVs in mind or extensions in mind, you can install them here, and then you go ahead and sync your final extensions. Now what is important in all these steps, which I'm going to run now, is you need to remember the order or the sequence of these commands. If you mess up with the sequence, it can be a little bit trickier, to be very fair. So I'll just copy this as it is here. It'll take time, and I have 1 2 3 4 5, I guess. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so I'm just place them here, and I'm just going to replace it on of the command. Okay, and then this one becomes default. Because these are actual extensions now from Microsoft, So the base app will take its own time, and that based on the size of the base app, which have so many objects. So it'll take some time, but in the meantime, we'll prepare for this. Okay, so now we are syncing. But how you sync? Let's read it. The first sync that you should do is for Microsoft System application. Okay, so let's copy this here and paste it in here. The next one that you should do is the base app. That's what it is saying. So let's do a base app. Okay. The third one it says is Microsoft application. So let's do the application here. Then it says to do the Microsoft and third party, which we don't have, and the custom extension, which is this one. Okay. And then at the end, last but not least, is the second version of type table extension, which is the first one which we published. Okay. Now this one has a version 2.0.0.0. Demo customization in my case have a version of 23.0.0.0. And we just need to check the versions for this. So I'll just copy one of these to get the version of it. I'll do a get nav app info with the path parameter of this. All Microsoft extension, at least till now, have the same versions. So I can just simply copy it, paste it here like this. So remember the sequence: the system, base, application, customization, and the table only, which is kind of reverse of what we did in the previous step. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's run the sync now. Okay. Then it says upgrade the empty table migration extension, because once you upgrade it, it will trigger the migration.json and then will move the data into the right set of tables. Okay. So here, and my sync for the last one will take time because it's where the migration.json is. We'll check for the validity of those tables which are part of it into some other extension. Okay, once this finishes, we need to do this, and then we need to clean and unpublish the migration extension. Okay, it seems we are reaching to the end of it if everything goes well here. So for that, there are two steps. One is this and one is this. Okay, and there is an error. And I'm not surprised, because if you remember from the previous video, we should have handled these table, because these table cannot be located and you cannot remove those table, which seems to be happening here. So what I'll have to do is I'll maybe record another video where we will rebuild the empty one and then come back to that point, because it seems I cannot do that right now. And these are the tables which will cause problems. So now I have the list. I'll be able to kind of take it forward from here. So remember this. What's a learning today? If it fails like this, and I'll save this PowerShell because we'll have to need to see this in our second video, or the last video most probably, is in your Business Central 14, make sure that the tables that you have in the database, and I'm not saying from the custom table perspective, but from the Microsoft table perspective, are the only table which are available on Business Central 14. Now, let me tell you why I'm saying this. Now, this 826, which is coming from 2016, and if you remember in the previous video, we did go back and check into the product DVD, the upgrade step, which we utilize from 2016 to here. I thought maybe I made a mistake somewhere. But now, if you look at it, in your BC14 Cronus, if you look for table 826, you will find nothing. 829, you will not find it. Sorry, 829, you will not find it. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that the tables, at least from the Microsoft perspective that you have in your environment, are the right set of table that should exist. If there are tables which are left over from a previous migration, which here in this case Microsoft should have listed those, but they did not in their upgrade from 2016 to BC14, they'll cause problems like this. And maybe you are coming from 3.6, you might leave an upgrade table or some table or any such table that'll break at this point. So you need to make sure that all the tables, once you are on Business Central 14, are the right set of tables that are needed or that are supposed to be in Business Central 14. If they are not in Business Central 14, then they should not be part of your database. Otherwise, this will fail. So it's pretty late here from where I'm recording right now. What I can guarantee you is in the next video, we'll try to rebuild the empty apps that we have created, and then hopefully, not hopefully, for sure, just to be sure, we'll be able to take this data forward into BC23. Sorry, I didn't plan for it, but I didn't expected this. I had some doubts in the previous video if you have seen the previous part of it, but I ignored it, assuming that because it is not listed into the Microsoft article, those table will not be part of it. But in the next video, hopefully I'm guaranteeing you that this situation will not come and we'll be able to handle it and complete this series. So sorry, this was not the last, but we'll make sure the next one is the last on this series. Sorry for that. Okay, till then, have a great day. Keep learning. Let me know what you think about this failure that we had in today's video, and we'll surely learn something from it and we'll be able to solve bigger problems going forward, because every failure tells you something new. So see you soon. Thank you.